howdy folks, and welcome to the EJ Tech Show. He's looking happier than usual, and I'm guessing he's happy because the new Asus ROG Phone 5 is in the house, and Asus is calling this ROG 5, but this is the 4th generation phone in the ROG Phone series. The reason for this is because the number 4 is considered unlucky in Taiwan. So let's get started. But first, a little bit of philosophy, right? In my opinion, gaming smartphones are no longer as compelling or as unique as they once used to be, right? Simply because a lot of exclusive features that you used to see in gaming smartphones have now made their way over to other non-gaming smartphones as well. So there's a major crossover happening where companies like OnePlus and Samsung, they're offering you things like a high refresh rate display, which was usually very exclusive to a gaming smartphone. So for a typical user who doesn't really care too much about gaming aesthetics and that hardcore gaming design, and they want similar hardware, they can just buy the latest OnePlus phone or they can buy a flagship Samsung phone. So this is something that Asus is of course aware of at the same time. So how are they addressing this problem? Simply by cramming as much tech as they can in a smartphone like this. And make no mistake, when people tell you that the new Asus ROG Phone 5 is the most powerful and fastest smartphone in the world, they're not kidding, because it is. So let's go through some of those big numbers, right? Snapdragon 888, the first smartphone in India to offer you Qualcomm's latest chipset, right? Plus, you've got a 6000 mAh battery, which we saw in the last 2 iterations as well. But this time you're getting dual cell batteries, which supports faster charging as well now. So, oh, by the way, 65 watt fast charging is supported, but you don't get a 65 watt adapter in the box. It only gets a 30 watt one. So you do have to buy it separately. Then of course you've got high refresh rate display, 144 Hertz, 300 Hertz touch sampling rate. I mean, stop me at any time because I can keep going.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I haven't really gotten a word in since we started, but that's also because there's so much on this smartphone, and this is that edge above the competition. This is for someone who really loves to game. This is not for someone who's like, yeah, let's play half an hour worth of games every day. I mean, you can totally get it still, and you still get a good smartphone experience, but this is for a mobile gamer.
Yeah, so this is pretty much maxed out, right? But also, let's quickly talk about pricing. And honestly, we don't know what the pricing is during the time of making this video. But if this smartphone is priced anywhere between 50 to 60,000 rupees, I'm absolutely okay with that. Preferably between 50 to 55,000. But even if it goes a little bit higher, up to 60,000, I can live with that considering everything that this phone packs in.
See, we also have to consider that the direct competitor to this is the S21 series, at least the lower end of the S21 series, with the S21 and the S21 Plus. Now, on paper and in practice, to be honest, this beats that almost completely because higher refresh rate, better gaming hardware, better specs. On every count, it beats that. But look, the other one is the OnePlus, the OnePlus 9.
So whenever that comes out, that'll be competing with this as well.
That's the main one. So if it's priced competitively compared to that, then yes, this could take the cake like it did last year as well. It was priced better than the OnePlus series was. So it definitely...
Actually, that's the good. This is one of the few phones that are actually priced cheaper in India than it is abroad. So in other countries like America, it'll be priced upwards of $900, but over here it should be priced much more reasonably. But look, pricing aside, specs aside, you've been gaming on this more than I have. You've been gaming on this for a couple of hours. So, and that's what it really comes down to. If you move specs aside, what is the gaming performance on this? What is the gaming experience with this phone? So yeah, tell me what it is like, because you also, I remember, tested out the ROG Phone 3 as well. So is it a better experience now?
Yes, definitely. So if I just, in simple terms, had to describe the power and the performance, it's OP. It's completely overpowered. It's cracked. It's broken. That's what I feel it is, because you can absolutely demolish the competition when you're playing with this. You have such an advantage, especially with this. This is the AEROACTIVE 5. The AEROACTIVE 5.
So it's an accessory that you have to purchase separately.
But oh my God, is it worth it? You plug it in and you get 2 extra triggers. Remember, this already comes with 2 air triggers. This provides you 4 plus your 2 thumbs. That's 6 controls basically. So screw emulators, you're at a whole different level. And the amount of customization you can do in the settings and Armory Crate is just absolutely gobsmacking. That's something we'll get into the review when we actually do that.
It also helps with the heat dissipation
because it's got a genuine fan, and it actually, you can hear it when you're playing a lot of like hardcore games. It actually does power up, and you can actually hear it whirring off. But still, honestly, the gaming performance is great. I dropped a nuke in COD Mobile in my second game. Like, just dropped a nuke just out of the blue, and that's not something that happens to me very often. So it's clearly a very
so those air triggers
machine.
And those extra controllers, and that one is definitely helping things. That, and of course the new Snapdragon 888 is going to make everything much more powerful, much more smoother. But now let's also quickly talk about the design elements, because at the end of the day, a gaming smartphone is defined by the way it looks, right? And I'm going to be honest, ROG phones, every year it becomes more toned down as you go along, right? So I remember the ROG Phone 2, which was the first ROG phone I've ever reviewed, that had killer gaming aesthetics, man. That was like next level with those circuit-like lines. Then the ROG Phone 3 came along and they toned it down a little bit. The circuit-like lines were gone. And this time around, it's slightly more toned down because you don't have those copper vents anymore, which was such an important part. Well, I don't know how much of a part it actually played, but it just looked really cool in terms of gamer aesthetics, but now that's gone as well.
Yeah, and even the LED at the back, it's now been changed to this dot matrix sort of pattern, which honestly I think looks nice because you can have so much customization for the colors. You can have a mixed color thing like we have right now. It honestly looks fantastic. And even the SIM card tray, even small details. See, that's, I think, what Asus is now concentrating on. It's that, okay, we've perfected the product when it comes to hardware and when it comes to performance optimizations. Now what else can we do? Now it's the little things. Now if you look at the SIM card tray, it's got this really nice red accent on it. It's made out of different material. If you take a look at the SIM ejector tool, I mean, they absolutely did not need to over-design that, but they have, and it looks so nice.
The devil is in the detail, isn't it?
Exactly. The attention to detail is impeccable when it comes to making these smartphones. And you can see that the headphone jack is back. That is another...
So that's a big one. That is a very, very big one. And when they removed it last year, I literally went, what? Why? How can you do that on a gaming smartphone? Now, the reason for it is simple, because last year, the chip that ran that phone was the Snapdragon 865 Plus, which didn't get an integrated 5G modem. It was separate, right? So, of course, that means there's less space. And also, when you take into the equation a 6,000 mAh battery, there's literally no space left for that headphone jack. So they had to remove it. But this time around, with the Snapdragon 888, because it does have that integrated modem, the space is back and the headphone jack is also back. Now, when it comes to a hardcore gamer or professional gamer, sound is so important when it comes to coordination, right? So a lot of them, they don't like using those Bluetooth headsets or earphones. They do like to plug the headset in directly into the phone. And now that option is back again. Because with, obviously, Bluetooth headsets, you do get that latency, you do get that lag. But with that, with the directly plugging it in, that problem's gone.
Although I will say, I don't think you need that whatsoever, because the stereo speakers are so loud and so clear.
So dual front-facing stereo speakers, they don't also get in your way when you're holding the phone in landscape mode. So that's a very big advantage.
Perfect.
Plus, Dexomark has given this these speakers the highest score yet, right, in their audio ranking test.
It sounds it.
And it does sound really, really good, whether you're gaming or whether you're watching content.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Screw gaming. For content watching, this is amazing because the screen is really nice. It's a nice AMOLED panel, and it is Samsung built, of course.
So that's a new thing, by the way.
Exactly.
They have partnered with, well, I say partnered, they probably paid a pretty penny to Samsung to get that OLED display, because, of course, Samsung does make the best OLED technology around. And it's over here as well. So it's a 1080p panel still. You're not getting those crazy QHD plus levels.
Which is fine. It still looks so crisp. So I don't think that's a huge deal breaker. But seriously, the overall experience is just overpowered. On every metric, this phone outperforms possibly anything that could exist alongside
And of course, you've, as usual, got that high refresh rate. Like last time around, it's still got 144 hertz. So for it just gives you that buttery smooth experience, whether you're interacting with the user interface or whether you're playing games that support that high refresh rate. And yes, it does, of course, make a big difference to animation playback. But you know what I'm more excited about? Is the 300 hertz touch sampling rate now that you get over here. Now, for those of you who don't know what a touch sampling rate is, basically the number of times the screen registers your touch input in 1 second. And the number over here is 300. So reaction times are going to be so much quicker now.
Yeah, and you can actually feel it when you're playing the games also. Even the air triggers, in fact, it feels like the sensitivity has been bumped up from last year. Last year, it felt a bit like you really had to mash them in to register the touch input. This time it just feels, the moment you just keep your fingers on it just a little bit, immediately it picks up that response and it starts performing. But
And as always, those air triggers now get a lot of customization options. And last time, Asus did introduce motion touch controls as well, but they were limited by how many gestures you got. I think they only had one gesture, but this time they've introduced
swipe, slide,
10 gestures
so
this time. So if motion controls are important to you, if you think it makes a big difference, then you've got that over here as well. And of course, apart from the hardware, the software optimization is very well done by Asus as usual. So now you've got that. You still got the X mode that basically puts this phone on steroids when it comes to gaming, enhances everything gaming-wise, right? But now you've also got something called X mode Plus because, you know, why not?
Yeah, basically you can take the tuning and you can actually change what part of the hardware you want performing at what level. You can have the RAM performing at high level, the GPU at a lower level, the CPU at a high level, whatever you want. You can do gaming tuning, hardcore tuning, performance tuning, whatever you like. You can absolutely change it, and that's what I love. The customization is endless. In fact, the weirdest customization for me is you can have this phone, which is an out-and-out overpowered gaming smartphone from every angle, and you can run classic Asus theme on it, which makes it look like just a regular phone.
Yeah, so as usual, you get those two different skins, right? So you've got that gamer aesthetic skin, which is very heavily customized, and then you've got that normal near stock Android experience. I would say go for the latter because it's just stock Android is always better. But it's up to you. I mean, some people might prefer that hardcore gamer aesthetic.
I would say if you have it, why not use it?
Yeah. Okay, so quickly let's talk about the one thing that gaming smartphones aren't generally known for, and that is the camera. So over here, you're getting a 64 megapixel triple camera setup. So you got that 64 megapixel primary sensor, which is joined by a 13 megapixel ultra wide sensor and also a macro sensor. Along with that, on the front, you do get a 24 megapixel selfie camera as well. We are going to do a proper camera test in our full in-depth review. So do stay tuned for that.
Although there's one thing I'd like to point out: in true 2021 fashion, it does 8K video recording.
It also does 8K video recording.
You don't need it, but we got it.
Yeah, you've got it. Just like how Samsung offers it to you,
exactly.
Asus is offering you the same thing as well. Okay, anyway, this phone's already breaking all sorts of benchmarks, but benchmarks aren't everything. We do have to, like we've said before, put this phone through its paces, and we will be saving that for our review. This was more of a first impression / a quick hands-on with the device. But do stay tuned for our full review, which is coming up very soon. But in the meantime, do let us know what you think about the new Asus ROG Phone 5. Will this be your next phone, your next gaming smartphone? Let us know everything in the comment section. We'll catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.